Recognizing Victoria Swan Lake.
It's deja vu all over again, Madam Speaker, with these guys. This government has a unique ability, Madam Speaker, to insult the province's teachers. Last week, the Premier said she would resolve bargaining by locking everyone in a room until they get a deal. Good. But then she took to the airwaves mere hours later and said teachers are only motivated by greed. She told a radio station that for teachers, quote, it's all about money, it's never about the quality of education. Wow, I thought it was this government that wouldn't let bargaining talk about class size and composition issues on the table in this dispute. Can the Education Minister describe, Madam Speaker, how the Premier insulting teachers and then locking kids out from their lunchtime activities and extracurricular activities can in any way help create
Members.
Madam Speaker, can the Minister describe how the Premier's sum total of her statements on teachers last week in any way helps this week in getting us closer to a settlement to achieve trust and respect at the bargaining table so that our schools in British Columbia are stable and secure?
Minister of Advanced Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate that the critic for the opposition is again taking facts and twisting them to their purpose. But let me say this, Madam Speaker. In answer to the question, Madam Speaker, I absolutely know that the Premier and the members of this government respect teachers in this province for the great job that they do. And I also know, Madam Speaker, that the Premier and the members of this government respect the rights of every person in British Columbia, that we respect the rights of other labour unions who have sat at the table with us, and as I said, Madam Speaker, unprecedented labour peace in the province of British Columbia because we have been willing to sit at the table and negotiate and have the other labour unions come back with counter proposals to ensure that we find a negotiated settlement. And Madam Speaker, I will reiterate this for the members opposite, and I would ask you, read my lips in addition to hearing me, please listen to what I'm saying. Our track record in this current round of negotiations is we've been at the table since June. We have stayed at the table. We have brought counter proposals. We have been willing to move off of some of our original positions. But, Madam Speaker, the bottom line is you can't negotiate with yourself. You need the other party to be there with you. And, Madam Speaker, that's our desire.
Thank you.
Stability and a negotiated settlement.
Swan Lake on a supplemental.
I do, Madam Speaker. The reality is the Minister's comments are so divorced from what is happening today in schools around British Columbia. It's now kids and parents that are getting hurt by this government's carrots and club negotiating tactics, Madam Speaker. 1 minute, the government says they want to move towards a deal by offering a signing bonus. Hours later last week, they tell teachers, if you don't like our offer, we'll cut your pay immediately. And the government's bizarre lockout order, Madam Speaker, actually prohibits teachers from talking to students and parents during recess and lunch hour. Can the Minister explain, Madam Speaker, it's the same old tactic, Madam Speaker. Let's go back to the Supreme Court ruling because the Minister's got lots of time to read every report in the world read that one again. Section 387. He tried this and failed. The question for the minister, Madam Speaker, is this, because he owes British Columbians an explanation. Can he explain how his government's failed agenda of conflict and escalation, which is bringing this dispute right into the classrooms and the lunchrooms of our schools, is in any way helping to get us nearer to a negotiated settlement?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd ask the member opposite to make a couple of notes, because I'm going to give him some facts. Number one, Madam Speaker, there are no extracurricular activities that need to be canceled if the teachers are willing to participate, as they have in the past. So that's fact number one, Madam Speaker. Fact number two, Madam Speaker, I find it interesting that the members opposite suggest that when strike action is initiated by one party, that's okay. But when the government responds by saying, if you're going to withdraw services, we're going to reduce your salary, that's chaos. And Madam Speaker, I don't understand, through you, the logic of that kind of thinking. If the members opposite, Madam Speaker, wish to do what we want to do, is have children in classrooms, is to have parents be able to live their lives, go to their jobs, communities be able to function without disruption, then, Madam Speaker, my challenge to the members opposite is to talk to their friends at the BCTF and simply ask them to come to the table with a reasonable negotiating stance that recognize the other settlements that we have that are fair to the unions, fair to taxpayers, but, Madam Speaker, that it will ultimately be fair to the students of this province so that we can focus on learning outcomes, because that is our goal, Madam Speaker.